everybody. I received the Holy Ghost in the 3rd grade, and if there is anything I could remember completely clear with so many details, it was the time that I received the Holy Ghost. So I was in the 3rd grade, and it was actually a Wednesday service, and it was an amazing service, and I remember just kneeling down and just pouring my heart out to God. And I just felt a bunch of little hands just on me, because it was both of my sisters and our friends just praying for me. And I started speaking in tongues, and I remember how it was just something so amazing. It was the best experience, just the best thing I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. And it was just so amazing. And being so young and growing up in church, I knew that the Holy Ghost was something very special and powerful. I just didn't really understand why. And so I learned. When I received it, I started getting more teachings about the Holy Ghost. And then in the 5th grade, my parents decided to move to Oakdale, and so moving meant no more church. And it was devastating. It was a very hard time for all my siblings and I. And then 3 months later of moving to Oakdale, my dad passed away, and so times got harder, and I handle things differently. I like letting people know the way I'm feeling. I'm very different compared to everybody else in my family. They're all very similar, and I'm kind of the different one. And I'm very affectionate, and the person that I would go to tell my feelings was my dad, but he was no longer there, of course. So depression kind of took over my life, and we moved back to Merced when I was in the 8th grade. And when I entered high school, depression completely took over my life. I suffered from depression, and a part of my depression was I looked more to alcohol. And I started hanging out with the wrong people. I started going to parties, and I was trying to find myself. And so it was just very hard. And during all those times, whether it was after doing, even before doing all of those things, whether it was partying, drinking, or being around people I shouldn't have been around, I always had second thoughts. I always knew that God was watching me. He was, disappointed in me. I was his child. I am his child. And so I would get judged for it a lot. I got called many names for always having second thoughts about doing everything. And it's because I was different, because I am a child of God. I am not of this world. And so only I understood that, because his spirit lives inside of me. So my depression started taking over me a lot more. It got to the point to where I was having suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts, actually. And the last suicide attempt, I learned a lot. I remember being in a hospital bed and really just apologizing to God.
It's all right.
Because I was going to take my own life, and it's not my life, it's God's. I am here for God. And so when I was there in the hospital the last time, I told God I was going to go to church and give him my life. I didn't till a year later. I learned the hard way again. I went through something very hard, and I remember one morning just waking up and I just kneeled down, and I was serious this time. I was like, I can't do it anymore, God. I think after this one, I'm done. I I need you right now. I said, God, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but I miss you. I need you. I know I was trying to find myself in this world, but I was looking in the wrong place. You know, the world has nothing to offer. God has so much to offer. He gave his life for us. So I told him, God, if leaving everything of this world behind means having you in my life, then I'm all yours. And so I said, I'm completely yours. So since last November of 2015, I've been fully devoted to God. And my walk with Christ has been the most precious thing I've ever experienced in my whole 18 years of living. Just if you let him guide you and you just answer your call, you'll find yourself. Because when I started coming back to church, I found my identity. Without the Holy Ghost, you kind of, if you don't allow the Holy Ghost to live inside of you and just God's Spirit live inside of you, then you kind of lose yourself. You lose your identity, and you get confused and you kind of go insane. That's literally what happened to me. And I said, God, sculpt me into the person that you've created me to be. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been the most exciting journey ever. Not every day is going to be perfect. You're going to go through trials, but every trial is worth it. God can take you far in life. He's our reason to live, and if you just allow his Spirit to live in you, he'll guide you to where you need to be.